In our headlines on this Monday, June 30th, here in South Korea. The Trade Ministry held a public hearing today during which corporate heavyweights and economic pundits voiced their concerns over U.S. tariffs amid news of unilateral notifications by the Trump administration in the near future, stipulating tariff rates for respective countries. Meanwhile, findings by Statistics Korea for the month of May show industrial output and facility investment lost more ground on month, while retail sales remained flat. And President Lee Jae-myung sat down with renowned figures from the cultural arena at the presidential office in Yongsan today to discuss ways to further support Korea's growth into a global cultural powerhouse. U.S. President Donald Trump has ruled out prospects of an extension in country-specific tariffs beyond the current July deadline, adding that American trade partners will soon receive letters informing them of their respective tariff rates, which will range from 10% to 50%. Our Kim Bo-kyung starts us off.
With just over a week to go before the 90-day extension on tariffs ends, President Donald Trump said he does not expect a further extension and said his administration will soon send notifications to countries.
But we're going to be sending letters out starting pretty soon. What we're going to do is we're going to send, and we're going to say, congratulations, we're allowing you to shop in the United States of America. You're going to pay a 25% tariff or a 35% or 50% or 10%.
The U.S. president was speaking in an interview with Fox News, which was taped Friday and broadcast Sunday. His words suggest that a reciprocal tariff of up to 50% could be unilaterally imposed, while certain countries will have a basic tariff of 10% imposed on them. He mentioned Japan as well, saying a letter could be sent to Tokyo. Trump emphasized that it is unfair that Japan does not import many U.S. cars while the U.S. imports millions of Japanese cars. When it was put to him that American car manufacturers do not want Japanese and Korean car companies to face lower tariffs than they do, he said that it would not happen, adding that U.S. car makers are too busy selling cars in America to even worry about it. Meanwhile, South Korea's top trade negotiator Yo Han-gu, who returned on Sunday from a week-long trip to Washington for the first trade talks under the new Lee administration, said a certain level of trust has been built to accelerate negotiations. According to Yo, after he met U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer and Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, Washington again showed interest in Korea's participation in the Alaska LNG project.
Under the new administration, a channel for conducting negotiations with the U.S. has now been established. As for the Alaska project, the U.S. has continued to show strong interest and hopes that Korea will participate.
He added that Seoul will seek the most suitable approach for the country's national interest while closely monitoring the political and economic developments in the U.S. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
In related news, the Trade Ministry hosted a public hearing earlier on this Monday, during which industry insiders and economic experts shared concerns over U.S. tariffs and their ripple effects. Our correspondent Park Chun-han was there.
South Korea may face a 0.3 to 0.4% decline in real GDP if tariff effects are fully felt. This was mentioned during a public hearing held by the Ministry of Trade, Industry, and Energy on Monday, based on a feasibility review conducted by the Korea Institute for International Economic Policy.
If all the tariffs imposed or planned by the Trump administration were to materialize, our projections estimated that real GDP growth could decline by approximately 0.3% to 0.4%.
The hearing was held a day after Trade Ministry officials from the new Lee Jae-myung administration returned from high-level tariff negotiations in the United States last week. The talks involved 6 areas of trade between South Korea and the U.S., namely balanced trade, non-tariff measures, economic security, digital trade, country of origin, and commercial considerations. People from various sectors, including agriculture, steel, automobiles, and oil, gathered to express complaints and called for transparent disclosure of progress in the negotiations. While the Trade Ministry expressed sympathy to industries affected by the tariffs, it explained that only limited information could be shared, as the potential harm of disclosing the details of the negotiations outweighs the benefits.
If you look at global or domestic media, there's very little information on which countries specifically received what demands and how they responded to certain tariff-related issues. I believe this is due to concerns over transparency, as making the negotiations public could be detrimental to the national interest.
The Trade Ministry will soon report to the National Assembly on the treaty signing plan following the public hearing, in accordance with Article 6 of the Commerce Treaty Act, which mandates the formulation and reporting of plans for concluding commerce treaties. Although the pace of negotiations is likely to pick up, it's still unclear when a deal will be reached or what kind of tariffs might follow. With less than 10 days left before the July 9th deadline, the tug-of-war between South Korea and the U.S. is expected to continue. Park Junan, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, findings for May show a second straight month of decline in industrial production on month amid the doldrums in the mining and manufacturing sectors. Our Moon Jiang covers the latest findings.
South Korea's industrial output and facility investment both declined in May from the previous month, while retail sales remained flat. According to Statistics Korea on Monday, industrial production declined by 1.1% on month in May, continuing its downward trend for a second month. This was largely driven by contraction in the mining and manufacturing sectors, which are the backbone of the economy.
Mining and manufacturing production fell 2.9% month on month, with gains in primary metals and petroleum refining offset by drops in pharmaceuticals and metal processing.
May's facility investment dropped by more than 4% from the previous month, marking 3 months of decline. Retail sales, a gauge of private spending, remained unchanged from a month earlier. In April, all three major economic indicators, industrial output, retail sales, and investment, had recorded declines, showing the fragility of the country's recent economic momentum. Against this backdrop, the National Assembly passed a first supplementary budget bill in early May.
We anticipate the effects of the supplementary budget to be felt in the economy in the latter half of this year, following a time lag.
He also explained the direct impact of U.S. tariff policies on this overall production decline was not significant, and added that their effects might gradually appear after the July tariff negotiations. Meanwhile, business sentiment among export companies is projected to continue to deteriorate for the third quarter. This comes as the Korea International Trade Association announced on the same day that the third quarter export business survey index was recorded below 100. The association attributed this sustained sluggishness to ongoing trade uncertainties, including U.S. tariff measures, coupled with slowing global growth and increased exchange rate volatility. Moon Jiang, Arirang News.
A National Assembly committee earlier on this Monday began its review of the government's extra budget proposal. The Special Committee on Budget and Accounts held a Q&A session with government officials on their planned additional spending, which stands at 30.5 trillion Korean won, or some $22 billion US. Rival political parties have agreed to extend the question and answer session to 2 days instead of 1. The ruling Democratic Party is hoping to pass the proposal by July 4th, claiming that this is the golden time to revive the sluggish economy. President Lee Jae-myung's cabinet is taking visible shape with a new round of names shared this past Sunday. Our top office correspondent Song Yoo-jin walks us through the latest nominations.
The second round of President Lee Jae-myung's cabinet picks was based on, as the presidential office puts it, expertise and innovation. On Sunday, veteran bureaucrat Koo Yoon-chul was named finance minister. He previously served as the ministry's second vice minister, budget director, and head of the Office for Government Policy Coordination.
Koo is considered the right person to chart a path for Korea's growth with deep expertise in public finances and overall policy making.
Ruling Democratic Party lawmaker Chung Sung-ho has been selected as Justice Minister, a position central to delivering on President Lee's campaign pledge to reform the prosecutor's office. Chung is known for his broad understanding of judicial reform, built over 5 terms in the National Assembly. Fellow DP lawmaker Yoon Ho-jung has been chosen to lead the Ministry of the Interior and Safety, another key post in the administration's efforts to reshape the prosecution system. The plan is to review the separation of the prosecution's investigative and indictment powers by creating a new agency within the ministry to oversee investigations. Other nominees include Lee Jin-suk, former president of Chungnam National University as education minister, Kim Jong-kwan, president of Doosan Enerbility as Minister of Trade, Industry and Energy, and Chung Eun-kyung, former commissioner of the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, as health minister. This leaves only the land and culture minister posts yet to be named. For the 2 vacant senior secretary posts at the top office, Chun Sung-hwan will serve as senior secretary for public engagement and social cohesion. The position has been renamed from senior secretary for civil and social agenda to highlight the president's focus on building national unity.
John has played many roles, from civic activism to serving as the head of public institutions and as a local government official, working to bring the quiet, often overlooked voices in our society into policy-making.
Prosecutor-turned-lawyer Pong Wook has been appointed Senior Secretary for Civil Affairs, a role expected to serve as the control tower for the Prosecution Reform Initiative. Lee's initial pick, Oh Kwang-soo, withdrew over allegations of receiving loans under other people's names. Also announced were several vice ministerial appointments, including Lee Dong-soo and Kim Ho-hong as deputy directors of the National Intelligence Service, as well as Lee Jin-soo as vice justice minister.
So among Sunday's announcements, the minister nominees will face confirmation hearings at the National Assembly, though their appointments will be decided by the president. Song Yu-jin, Arirang News.
Meanwhile, on the diplomatic front, President Lee Jae-myung held his first phone call with Singapore's Prime Minister Lawrence Wong on this Monday. According to the presidential office, the two leaders agreed to upgrade their ties to a strategic partnership as they celebrate 50 years of diplomatic relations this year. They also voiced commitment to cooperation on diverse fronts, ranging from artificial intelligence to peace and stability here on the Korean Peninsula. President Lee also shared hopes to host his Singaporean counterpart during the APEC summit here in South Korea this autumn. Prime Minister Wong, in response, spoke of looking forward to the occasion and proposed their two countries continue senior-level exchanges. Also, President Lee Jae-myung sat down with renowned figures from the cultural arena on this Monday afternoon to address ways to advance Korea's standing as a global cultural powerhouse. Invited to the presidential office in Yongsan were 5 prominent individuals, including musical writer Park Chun-hyu of the Tony Award-winning Maybe Happy Ending, soprano Cho Soo-mi, and ballerino Park Yoon-jae. While applauding their contributions to promoting Korea's soft diplomacy, the president also took heed of their thoughts on supporting artists and their activities. The 3rd season of the Netflix series Squid Game topped the charts in 93 countries within a day of its release. According to Flix Patrol, a global OTT ranking site on Saturday, the series, which was released last Friday, ranked #1 in the Netflix TV show category in 93 countries. With 10 points awarded for every country in which a show ranks first, the South Korean drama series garnered 930 points. It was first released in 2021 and stands as the most popular series in Netflix's history. Over in Turkey, an exhibition currently underway in that country by a group of South Korean artists is proving physical disability does not hinder creative ability and instead deepens the power of perspective. Our Choi Soo-young reports.
A hot air balloon floats gently on a small canvas showing the beauty of Cappadocia, Turkey. Flowers recreated with Korean colors and lines also catch the eye. All of these works are made using tape. Artist Park Tae-hyun visited Turkey in 2017, and ever since he has dreamed of going back to hold an exhibition there.
He rode a hot air balloon and sailed on a cruise ship in Turkey, which left a strong impression. After returning to Korea, he made many related artworks and has always dreamed of exhibiting them.
Since June 16th, a special exhibition has been held at the Korean Cultural Center in Ankara, Turkey, featuring work from Art-World Korea by 9 artists with developmental disabilities, including Park and Chongdon. More than 40 pieces of art grabbed the attention of visitors with their bold colors and unique perspectives.
I thought many Korean residents would come, but many locals visited instead. They listened carefully to the stories behind each artwork, asked questions, and showed their respect. Our artists felt very happy, and I was truly proud.
We thought it would be meaningful to share Korean culture through pure and unique perspectives. By introducing artworks about Turkey seen through Korean eyes, we also hope to highlight the strong friendship between Korea and Turkey.
Over the past 10 years of their artistic journey, the artists' disabilities have become a driving force for their art, not a limitation.
People with developmental disabilities often have sensitive hearing or vision, giving them a unique view of the world. With strong intuition and focus, it feels like the picture is already complete in their mind, and they simply transfer it onto the canvas.
There were many doubts and stereotypes about how people with developmental disabilities could create such artwork.
One tough prejudice is people doubting that artists with developmental disabilities truly created the artwork themselves. It's a hurtful misunderstanding.
From planning the exhibition to setting up the artwork, the parents do everything except create the pieces themselves. But the parents of Art-World Korea say they want the world to recognize these works as those of true artists. An exhibition without borders in Turkey runs until July 25th. Choi Soo-young, Arirang News.
And it's time now for the final installment in our series of stories to celebrate 6 decades of diplomatic relations between South Korea and Japan this year. K-pop continues to connect the two countries as promising talents from the neighboring nation also seek the center stage. My colleague An Sung-jin has more.
11-year-old Hanae has a big dream: to become a K-pop idol. From Twice to her favorite artist Tomorrow by Together, the idol wannabe's dance practices continue day and night. Her journey began when she was an infant.
When I watch K-pop, the singing is amazing and the dancing is incredible too. It makes me think that it's something really special.
Her love for K-pop came from her mother, though she was also inspired by someone else, her grandmother. The passion for K-pop runs through 3 generations of her family.
In the past, only some people knew about and liked Korean culture. But now, it's become mainstream. Even my friends enjoy it. I think it gives people a positive motivation for life. Korean culture is now really being embraced here in Japan.
For Hanae's mother, it started with Korean fashion and then naturally merged into K-pop. Now she's glad to be supporting her daughter's dream that she had once hoped for.
I want to support her dream with all that I can. I hope she becomes a globally renowned K-pop idol, maybe even performing at Coachella one day.
For Hanae, this means a lot of effort, whether it be learning Korean or enhancing her dance skills.
I'm working hard on my singing and dancing until I can be truly satisfied with it myself. I want to meet K-pop idols up close and not only debut in Korea, but also ultimately launch a global career.
But it's not just Hanae who has this ambitious aspiration. Students at this dance studio are also a part of a rising wave of Japanese teens captivated by K-pop who practice for hours every day. The studio has more than 1,000 registered students and offers classes for all different levels.
We've been seeing a steady increase in students over the past 7 or 8 years, but I think that number will only grow. Until recently, most students have been high schoolers, but now we're seeing a lot more kids from elementary school or those who are in their 20s as well.
It's the K-pop performance for me, and how K-pop idols really try hard and put in a lot of effort.
Kurumi has already crossed that threshold. She debuted only around a month ago as a K-pop idol in Korea and said that her dream since elementary school had come true.
It still doesn't feel real, but as we've been appearing on music shows more often these days, it's starting to sink in more and more. I hope to perform in Japan, my home country, sometime in the future.
But the phenomenon of K-pop is flowing in both directions. N-Team is a successful example of K-culture localization and draws fans from all over the world.
We just made the plans full steam. We booked a flight, we booked a hotel, and we were on our way. I think it's because the members are like so diverse. A lot of them are like multilingual.
I had been learning Korean, but I stopped for a while. After I started liking N-Team, I picked it up again.
These journeys represent not only what many young hopefuls see as success, but it also signifies a cultural crossover as K-pop continues to transcend borders, languages, and generations. This next wave of idols are gearing up for their dream, one step and one beat at a time. An Sung-jin, Arirang News, Tokyo.
This is The World Now, bringing you the latest stories from around the globe. An official from Iran's judiciary said on Sunday that 71 people were killed in the Evin Prison strike on June 23rd, which included administrative staff, political detainees, and nearby residents. The strike targeted the prison's entrance and administrative areas, leaving visible damage to buildings and surrounding areas. Evin Prison is known for housing political prisoners, journalists, academics, and foreign nationals. Some detainees were relocated after the attack. France, whose citizens are also held there, said the strike endangered foreign nationals and demanded proof of their safety. The June 23rd attack came a day before the ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Israel's defense ministry had said it was attacking regime targets and government repression bodies in the heart of Tehran. Tensions in Serbia escalated over the weekend as anti-government protesters clashed violently with riot police in Belgrade as they called for snap elections and an end to President Aleksandar Vucic's 12-year rule. Tens of thousands of people gathered after months of nationwide anti-corruption and student-led demonstrations, with protesters hurling flares and rocks at riot police stationed around government buildings and elsewhere. Police responded with pepper spray and forcefully broke up groups in multiple locations. Several dozen protesters were detained, while at least 6 officers sustained injuries during the confrontations. Opposition activists and students have intensified their campaign, demanding early parliamentary elections and accountability following the deadly Novi Sad railway station canopy collapse last November that killed 16 people. Protesters blame corruption for the disaster. Serbian President Vučić denounced the clashes, saying protesters were attempting to topple Serbia but failed. Beijing showcased the world's first 3-on-3 soccer match on Saturday, played by 4 teams of fully autonomous humanoid robots driven by AI. The robot players were equipped with optical cameras and sensors that detect the ball from up to 20 meters away, with over 90% accuracy. The game was structured into 2 10-minute halves, featuring a deep reinforcement learning AI that made real-time decisions on passing, shooting, running, and strategy without any human control. Robots were able to recover from falls and display dynamic movement. Organizers said the event showcased a real-world test of robot endurance, agility, and AI-driven technology. Choi Ji-hee, Arirang News.
Seoul's first heatwave advisors of the year were issued today. Under the heatwave warnings and advisors, Seoul rose up to 31 degrees Celsius, Kimcheon and Miryang 36 degrees. With high humidity, it felt even hotter than the actual readings. It seems like the summer heat of over 30 degrees will continue for the time being. The daytime temperature in Seoul will move up to 30 degrees tomorrow. It will rain slightly in the Seoul metropolitan area and Gangwon-do province on the way to work tomorrow morning. Also, showers are forecast around the southern parts of the Chungcheong-do provinces. Tomorrow morning will start a bit hot at around 23 to 24 degrees all over the country. Daily highs move up to 35 degrees in Gwangju and Daegu, 36 degrees in Gyeongju. The heat will continue day and night in the first week of July. That's all for Korea. Here are the weather conditions around the world.
Right, those are the headlines at this hour here in South Korea. As always, thank you for watching. Coming up next is our daily panel session, so do stay with us.